Well, hi everyone, warm welcome back to the channel. Dave in the caravan on his Jack Jones here. Helen's doing the sensible thing. She's in the back garden sunning herself with a long cool drink in hand as well. Unusually, we're at home actually. We've been away I think every week this year. And we had to be at home because we've had the caravan service. But just typical that the sun is shining, it's about 80 degrees, and if there's one week you'd want to be away, it's probably this week. So normal service resumed on being on a campsite from next week onwards. But we had the caravan service. I'm not going to go into detail today, but I will pick up on the service in a future video. A clean bill of health. Thank you to Darren, our caravan engineer, local chap, comes out mobile, absolutely brilliant. I've tried 2 or 3 people, landed eventually on Darren, and I'll never change. He's spot on. So a clean bill of health, but a couple of advisories, one of which is potentially life-saving. So I want to just touch on that in a future video, particularly under the heading of top tips for the absolute beginners. And that is what this video is going to be about as well. Some top tips for absolute beginners. Before I get into it, 2 big thank yous to do. Thank you to Paul Morgan, who's a regular viewer, and he sent us a super thanks. He enjoys the videos so much, he wanted to sort of just buy us a coffee. We've got loads of coffee though, so I'm going to put the super thanks to good use. Instead, I'm going to spend it on Ghost Ship. Paul, thank you very much indeed. A very nice gesture. You know, we don't go sort of touting for super thanks from people, but if you want to buy me a beer or Helen a Malibu at any time, there's a little super thanks button at the bottom. You can click that. Recently, someone bought Bella something using super thanks as well. Bought her some biscuits, so. Very appreciative. And also thank you along the same lines to Sarah as well, because it was Sarah who in her comment had asked if we could do another one of our caravanning top tips for absolute beginners and look at how we set up. Now she wasn't referring to how you pitch, you know, we've done a video on that, go back and find it if you want to know how we pitch the caravan. But actually once we pitched, you know, how do we set up to make our caravan comfortable, the home from home that we try and make it, you know. And particularly what she was interested in, what's the interior look like, what does the exterior look like, so what's our setup actually look like once we're there. I'm breaking this video down into 2, so this is part 1, and this is going to be what we do with the awning, because this is where my head was before Sarah sent her message to me. Sarah and her partner, they're new, they've just got a caravan, they've learned quite a bit from some of our videos, and they're just really interested in this. So, you know, amazing that I'd already started to do something along these lines. So what I filmed literally when I was away the other week was actually how we set up outside to make things as sort of comfortable for us as possible. So that's all about the awning. We've actually got 2 awnings, and I don't know what, I do know why, it's crazy. We've got 2 awnings and we've got our fabulous sun canopy. So the awnings that we have is we have the Camper 390 Air Pro, I believe it's called. Put a little link in here, you can see what I'm talking about with the measurements, etc. That's our sort of bog standard awning. It's quite heavy, but it's heavy duty as well, all weather. It's brilliant, and that we use infrequently, but certainly if we've got our grandchildren or anyone else with us and we need some extra living space, that's the one that I would use. And if we're out in the winter time, that is the one that I would definitely use. And you'll see that becomes a real extension of the caravan, often doubling up with some sleeping accommodation as well. So don't use it very often. We used it recently though, because we had a couple of grandkids in tow, and I decided before we went away, because with all the rain and wind going on, I better give it a bit of a waterproof, because I don't think I'd used it for a year. But it was brilliant, doesn't leak, loads of space, very warm, superb. So that's awning number 1. But it is heavy. So awning number 2, we decided we would get something similar size but lighter in weight and not costing so much money. And we bought one of these Sun Camp 325, I think it's called. Lightweight awning. I've got to be honest, I don't like it. I don't know what it is about it. It flaps around in the slightest wind. It makes a bit of noise. It doesn't have the quality, because it wouldn't have. It's a lot cheaper than the Sun Camp. Nothing against them, and I know a lot of you will have these, but I think I've just been spoilt with the Sun Camp. Sorry, with the Camper 390. So I tend to keep that one in the garage and don't use it that much. And then the one that we use as much as we possibly can is not an awning really, it's a sun canopy, and that's the Dometic stroke Camper 400 Air Pro, I believe. Again, picture and links coming in. And wherever possible, that's the one I use. And I'll tell you why. I can put it up in seconds, you know, it goes up in just a couple of minutes. And it's really, really lightweight. It's stylish. It's despite being lightweight, though, it's strong. It can stand some good, you know, a good battering of wind. And also we can put on these sides. We have some extensions that we put on. If you're regulars, you've probably seen those. So there's sort of 3 canopies stroke awnings that we use. What I'm going to show you now is kind of how we set those up. So here comes a closer look at what we generally use when we're out and about with a van. So wherever we can, we like to use a sun canopy, but of course sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have one of our 2 awnings that we put up. We've got a Camper 390 Air Pro, which we use. We've got sides that we put on this as well, so it sort of becomes pretty windproof, but it's designed purely to be a sun canopy, and if we need a windbreak, then we do put a side on, or even both sides. We've also got a camper windbreak which we put up too. This is pretty much though our standard setup. So what you see here, what have we got? Let's have a look at some of the things in more detail. We cook outside as much as we possibly can, and we like to use the old teppanyaki. Got lots of little things blowing around today, but we use a teppanyaki, and the reason we use that is it's easy to clean. We're getting electric included in the price anyway, so why would we want to use gas? And we get, you know, we cook some nice food on that. We've got an extra camping table which we bought particularly for this, with this in mind. And what this has got is folds up to nothing. You've seen these before, I'm sure. Got some zip up storage underneath for putting any crockery or sort of tin stuff or whatever. So that's important, we use that a lot. Now here's our cool box, our external cool box from Halfords. We've got to thank our friends for giving us a top tip on this one, because we now keep all of our cold drinks in the cool box rather than filling up the fridge. So our beers and our soft drinks, even some Prosecco and water and stuff, all in our little cool box. Standard setup table and chairs. Helen always does a nice job on this, so she always puts a tablecloth on, and Rose is in situ, bless her. So we'll set up and we'll have breakfast, lunch, dinner very often just sat here under the canopy. Now this is a fold-up table that folds up to absolutely nothing. It weighs nothing at all. These 2 chairs here, these 2 folding chairs, we take with us everywhere we go. No weight in those, and they're extremely comfortable because they're really sprung. They're made by Outback. We've had these now for about 7 years, and really and truthfully, one of the best purchases we've made, to be honest. Really comfortable. Now actually we've had these chairs for some time. They've been really strong, very sturdy, and they're extremely comfortable, but I can't find this model available anywhere now. Outback still make one very similar, so I've included it here. If I was buying again, I'd probably go with this one anyway, because it's got the added sort of recliner on it, so you can really make it into a bit of a sunbed and chill right out with these. So anyway, the link is below. Now the little mat down there is just a little finishing touch that we have. Often Bella will use that to have a little sleep on in the afternoons and in the evenings and in the mornings. In fact, she sleeps all day, that dog, that's all she does. These little tables here are great though, because first of all we have our citronella candles on here, which we like to light up at night time. And also, you'll have seen these I'm sure, but these tabletops come off, and then you've either got a little stool for the kids if they're about, or a little footrest if you want to put your feet up. Works really well. I do like my coloured lights. They go everywhere that we go, and recently in a storm I did lose a set of these, but they're not that expensive. And to be honest with you as well, in terms of electricity, they draw absolutely nothing. I think you could put these on all year long and it'll cost you about £1 for the year. They just don't draw any electric at all, but they do add a nice little ambience at night. So wherever we go, awning or sun canopy, the coloured lights have to come with us. You'll notice we've got a dustbin which we keep outside as well. We find that these bins on the doors, you just can't get enough rubbish in them. So we don't use that for rubbish. Actually, that's where we keep Bella's lead and all the little stuff that we need, little bits and bobs, some bags, toilet bags and things. And we use this little bin here to put all of our rubbish in. The mat is an absolute must. We've had this for years and years. We just keep washing it and drying it out, and this comes up like new every time. So the first thing I put down when I'm in the sun canopy or setting up the awning is this, because this is the template for everything else. Can't remember what we paid for it, but it's made by Camper, and as with all of these other accessories, I will make sure that I put a link to our Amazon shop where you can pick up these items if you want them. You'll pay the same price as everyone else. We'll get a very small commission, pennies, but every little helps, as they say. Something to stress: don't get carried away. We all do it. I've got a garage full of gear that I hardly ever use because it is so easy to get carried away with all these different accessories that you can take with you. And there are some brilliant accessories. I think what you've got to do is just have a look at what your individual needs are. 99% of the time when we go caravanning, which is all the time, it's myself, Helen and Bella. The Caravan suits us just fine. We don't need to put any awnings or sun canopies up at all, but we do it to go and enjoy the great outdoors, really. We like to sit out, we like to eat out, and we like to cook outside of our caravan. But if the weather ain't great, we just do it all in here anyway. But there are occasions when we've got the grandkids in tow, or we have, you know, visiting friends or whatever, and that's when some of these other accessories, which we hardly ever use though, we need to bring them into play then, because we need to accommodate in a different kind of way. So one of those additional items that I was talking about is this inflatable bed, and Tom uses this when he comes along with us, and we put it in the Camper 390 awning. It's brilliant. It just plugs into a 3-pin plug, a 13 amp, and we turn it on. It will inflate itself to the required PSI, and then once we're there, it holds the air really well. Tom gets a really comfortable sleep on it. You know, it's as comfortable as his bed at home, he reckons. And then what we do when we've finished, you just turn the lever in the opposite direction, and it will deflate and literally, like a vacuum pack, take all of the air out of the bed, and then we can fold it flat to nothing, and it all goes in a little drawstring bag, pack it away in the back of the car. Fantastic. So another item we take with us is this camper cupboard. This is a brilliant thing as well because it folds down extremely flat and is lightweight. And if we use the awning for extra sleeping accommodation, as I mentioned with Tom, this also doubles up and makes a great sort of 3-shelf storage cupboard for his clothes and his kit. And it's got a good tabletop that's sturdy as well, so you can put, you know, put a lamp on there or even a TV set if you want to. Works really well. Oh, and we also have a couple of these tub chairs which fold to absolutely nothing. They're handy to have when we've got kids or guests around as well. And also good for when we go to our little events and concerts and things. They fold down to absolutely nothing. Really good. We have got lots of accessories that you can use in an awning, and the vast majority of them we just never use. But under certain circumstances, we do. The more you have, the more it costs, and the more it all weighs. And one of the things you've got to really be mindful of with all this stuff is how much are you really piling into your caravan, and how much weight are you putting in? Because you get it wrong with weight, not only does it impact and affect your driving situation, you know, suddenly you get a bit of a wobble on because you've got too much weight at the back or at the front of the caravan. Wherever possible, you need to get all your weight centered over the axle. Okay, really important. But the more you take, the more it weighs, the more chances are that you're going to get pulled up at one day, find that you're overladen, and you will be lumped with a very heavy fine for being overweight. And not only that, the more you have to pull, the more wear you'll have on your car tyres, and also your fuel consumption will be less. So, you want to be as light as possible. Don't cram your caravan full of stuff. And when we're taking extras with us, where possible, I'll try and get them in the car. Generally speaking, it's me, Helen, and Bella, and that's it. If it's me, Helen, Bella, and a couple of grandkids, a lot of weight in the car. You can really feel the difference. So you've really got to get that balance right. So I'm interested to hear about your accessories that you take. So do please comment below. Comment if you like something, comment if you want to know more about something, but comment if you use something that we're not using that you think we might find useful. Although I don't really want to spend any more money anytime soon. I've spent enough money on caravanning, I can assure you. So as I always say, if you have been, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also give us a thumbs up. But that's it for this one. We'll catch you next time. Take care and thanks for watching. Bye for now.